Are you like me and you have a bunch of these hard drives laying around in your house? Or are you paying a crazy amount every month for online storage? If this is the case, I want to give you 5 reasons why the Synology NAS might be the storage solution you didn't even know existed. Let's roll the intro and get right into it. For those who don't know me yet, I'm Bellemare-Alford, a young photographer and filmmaker on the journey to become better at this art. A few months ago, I bought the Synology DS418 with the goal to replace my 5TB Lightroom CC plan and also centralize all the content from these drives. And I couldn't be happier with the result. The first reason I like using a NAS so much is that you can quickly access your files from anywhere. NAS stands for Network Attached Storage, and this means that you can quickly connect this to the internet and have access to your files wherever you are. There's 2 main ways to access the file. The first one is using a network drive, and this works inside of Windows and Mac OS. And it's just like if you were connecting a USB drive inside of your computer, and then you can use File Explorer on Windows or Finder on Mac to access your files, and any normal program that works with Finder or File Explorer is also going to work with the NAS. And read and write speed are pretty good actually with this technique because you're using your network inside of your house to access the file. So I get about 50 megabytes seconds on the Wi-Fi and over 100 megabytes seconds when I'm on the cable network. Another way of accessing your files is using a technology they call Quick Connect, and this is using a web browser. You can access the files from anywhere. So there's a web interface where you can go in and look at all your files and also use the few apps they have on this. And this is really great because wherever you are, you can always have access to your files. The third way of accessing your files is actually using their apps, and they have apps for photos, videos, music. So yeah, you can access any file on the NAS wherever you are, even using your mobile devices. The second thing I really like about the Synology drive is that it can act as your personal cloud. So in our family, we're 5 family members, and every person can have their own personal cloud using the Synology NAS. And when I'm talking your personal cloud, this works just like any other online cloud services like OneDrive, iCloud, Dropbox, Google Drive, or whatever technology you're using right now. So this means you can sync all your files on your computer using a 2-way sync, or you can get more control and only decide to sync the files from the NAS to your computer or from your computer to the NAS. So this is really great because you have a lot of flexibility on how you want to set it up. Just like any other software, you can also select which folder you want to sync, and this is really great when I'm working on video projects because I don't want to have all the files all the time on my computer. I only want to select the projects I'm working on to have them sync 2 ways. Another really great thing about the Synology technology is that you can use a technology called Files on Demand, and this is just like inside of OneDrive, where on Windows you can have all your files appear in the File Explorer, but only have them sync down when you double click on them. So this is really great when you have a lot of files on your NAS, but you only want to have them on your computer when you're ready to use them for real. Another great thing about this technology is that you can actually have shareable links. So they have an app that's called Drives, and instead of that, you can put your own files and you can share a link to a folder or to a file to people so you can send it and collaborate on your projects for people that are outside of your home and that don't have access to an account on the NAS. So this is really useful when you need to collaborate on a project. Another really great thing is that like just any other backup technology, you can actually backup your photos on your phone automatically. So there's an app called Moments that allows you to backup all your photos automatically as you take them. And this is really great because you don't have to send them to another cloud service to be sure that they're backed up. The last thing, but not the least, is that you can have shareable albums. And this is really great when you're a photographer because you want to be able to share your pictures quickly with clients or just with friends and family. And they actually have 2 apps right now that allow you to do this. The first one I talked about, Moments, that is more like a Google Photos version. So it's really user-friendly and intuitive to use. And then they have a more professional version, which is called Photo Stations. And that one allows actually to do proofing with your clients and more advanced features. I'm not going to go into much details about these 2 apps right now because they're going to be releasing a new version of their desktop operating system soon, where they're going to merge these 2 apps inside of one called Photos. So I'm going to do a whole video on that when it comes out. Talking about photo apps, this brings me to my next point, which is their onboard AI to process pictures. So just like Lightroom CC or Google Photos, whenever you upload a picture, they analyze the picture to determine what's inside of it. So they find what's the scenery, what are the objects, what are the people, what are the location, and they take all this information to allow you to search for your pictures in an easier way. So you can either go through the folders that they create automatically, or use the search bar and use a keyword to find exactly the shot you're looking for. And this is really great when you have a huge photo library and then you're searching for a shot and you know what it is, but you don't necessarily know when it was captured. It's also really great because all the AI is happening on board, and this means nothing is sent to an external server to be analyzed. Everything can be done really quickly on board on the device right away. My next point is actually the one that made me hesitate the most before buying a NAS, because I wasn't sure how my workflow would work using a NAS for Lightroom and Premiere Pro. So I would have all my files for a video project on one of these drives that I would bring around all the time with me. And for my pictures, I would back everything up inside of Lightroom CC. And this meant that wherever I was, I had access to my files. So without changing much, I was actually able to still use Lightroom Classic to access all the files on the NAS. And now I think I have even a better workflow when I'm working for my projects, because I don't have to have this with me all the time. I can have access to all the files I need on demand when I'm working on a project instead of Premiere Pro. So I'm going to be making 2 videos about these 2 workflows later on. So be sure to subscribe below if you want to learn more how to set up Lightroom or Premiere Pro to work with a Synology NAS. My last point is the one where I disagree with most people, and I actually think it's cheaper to buy a Synology NAS than to be buying all these hard drives or using an online cloud storage to store all your files. So if I take my cell phone here with a few numbers, I actually was paying the full Creative Cloud suite and also 5 TB of storage to Adobe before, and this was coming just over $100 a month or $1,200 a year, which is a lot of money when you consider you have to pay it continuously every single year. If you're a little bit better and you're only paying for the Lightroom plan at $10 a month and some extra storage, so let's say 2 TB, this is still $30 a month or $360 a year. If you have the 5 TB plan, it's still $720 a year. And if you're paying the 10 TB plan, it's still $1,320 a year. That's a lot of money when you consider you have to pay it every single year to store all your files. And it's only going to be becoming bigger and bigger, so you're going to be paying more and more every single year. If you take a little bit cheaper options, so let's say Google Photos, it's actually only $120 for 2 TB or $600 for 10 TB. But $600 a year is still a lot of money you have to invest for years over years to store all your files that are going to be becoming bigger and bigger nonstop. So I have the Synology DS418, which is a cheaper version of the drives. It's not as fast and I cannot connect it directly inside of my computer, which would be a lot faster. But I thought it was a good budget option with still plenty of storage. So this unit without the drives inside of it is $390. And I decided to go with 2 4 TB drives, and I can actually add more afterwards. And each 4 TB drive was about $100. So this brings the total price to $590, which is a lot cheaper than most of the other options. Whatever I was paying before was actually paying the whole Synology drive right away within a year or 2. But the really great thing about a drive like this one is you're not buying it for 1 or 2 years, you're buying it probably for 10, 15 years. And it's because you can add so much more storage inside of it. So this unit can go up to 64 TB or 48 if you're using it in RAID. And you probably want to be using it RAID because it means that if one drive fails, you're not using any data, you can recover them quite easily. So that's probably how you want to use it. But you can add 4 16 TB drives, which brings up the total to 48 TB. And 48 TB is more than enough for most people. Because you decided to stick up to now, I wanted to give you a few other bonus points. And the first one is that you can have better control with permissions. And that means that you can have every folder assigned to different users. So if you have multiple users using the same NAS, you can actually quite easily control who can have access to what. The second thing is that you have better organization using network drives, and this actually allows to replicate these type of drives. So I have one for editing, I have another one for Lightroom catalogs, one for time-lapse, and you get the idea where you can really organize all your files instead of different virtual drives. The next thing is that you have encryption. So this is really great if you want to have protected files where whatever you put on that drive, everything becomes encrypted and safely stored. The last one, and that's probably one of the very important ones, is that it's really easy to back up your files using this NAS. You can either back up things to cloud storage if you decide to do it that way, or you can back up to another Synology drive, or like I do, I simply take one of my drives, plug it inside of here, and it backs up everything automatically. So this is really important because you always want to have a few copies of your file to be sure to be safe. One thing I do not like about this NAS, and I'm probably going to make another video on what I don't like about it, is that it's a little bit complex to set up. So I'm good with technologies, but for the beginning user, it might be a little bit complex to get everything set up as they want. But once you get used to it, it's actually quite easy to use. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, leave a like below. And also don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you want to learn more about this Synology drive or photography and filmmaking. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.